Okay? From the looks of the last homework, you guys did a fabulous job. So I kind of want to recap where we are currently in the world of trig. So basically, right now, everything's coming down to our unit circle. So I make an x and y axis. I draw a circle on it, right? And then I'll put our degrees, 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360, right? So you put your degrees, and then we have points. This point is the 1, 0. This point is 0, 1. This point is negative 1, 0. And this point here is 0, negative 1. Now, a couple things. Last time we talked about how sine, cosine, and tangent can also be part of the unit circle. And we talked about how the sine of an angle is the same thing as the y coordinate. How cosine is equal to x, and tangent was equal to y over x. And we use that to answer questions such as if I ask you to evaluate tangent of 360 degrees. So quick recap, 360 degrees would put me at this point right here. Tangent is y over x. So what I would do is go to this point. The y coordinate is 0. The x coordinate is 1. And what is 0 over 1? That would be 0. Right? If you wanted to try another one, I said evaluate cosine negative 90, right? So usually we put negatives in parentheses. Where would negative 90 be? Well, negative 90 is down 90, which would put us here. Cosine goes with the x's. Whoop. So cosine is 0. Whoop. Now, let's talk about x's and y's on this picture. If you notice, right, and I said to, I'm going to slide up a little bit, I ask you to evaluate sine at 90 degrees. What would that answer be? Well, 90 degrees, positive 90, means we're going up. Sine is the y value, so it's 1. Then if I ask you to evaluate sine at 270, what would that answer be? Well, 270 is down here. Sine is the y value, which would be negative 1. All right, now notice how these are both 1s, but one's a positive 1 and one is a negative 1. Okay, well check that out. Sine is y. What are the y's on the top part of an x and y axis, right? All of these y's are positive. All of these y's are negative. So what that means is anytime sine is up here, it's going to be positive. And anytime sine is down here, the answer is going to be negative. Now let's talk about cosine. Cosine the x's. What kind of x's live on this side of the y-axis? Positive, which is why cosine is positive 1 here. But what are the x's on this side? Negative. Now, we're going to need to keep track of where these guys are going to be positive and negative. Now, it's kind of annoying to do it the way I was just saying, so there's a little trick. And what we do is we make a little xy axis, and we're going to put some letters in it. A, S, T, C. Notice I went counterclockwise, just like the unit circle goes counterclockwise, so A, S, T, C. A lot of times we say all students take calculus. I learned at Albany State Teachers College because my high school math teacher went to SUNY Albany, and back then it was called Albany State. So that's how the letters go. And the letters, A stands for all. S, if you had to guess, stands for sine. T is tan. And C stands for cos. The letter is positive. So what that means is something lands in the first quadrant, all of the answers will be positive. If an answer lands in the second quadrant, only sine is positive. Only tangent would be positive in something in the third quadrant, and only something there. So let me show you how you could ask questions. I could say, in which quadrant is sine theta less than 0 and tan theta greater than 0? All right, so let's talk about this question. So anytime they say which quadrant, what you guys want to do is make a crisscross and put ASTC in it. Now, sine theta less than 0. Less than 0 always means negative. So I need to know what quadrant sine is negative in. So I go here. A. What does A mean? A means all things are positive. So can sine be negative there? Nope, so I cross it off. Can sine be negative in the second quadrant? No, S stands for sine is positive, so I cross that off. Can sine be negative here? Yes. Can sine be negative here? Yes. All right, so far I'm down to 2 choices. Now look, tangent is greater than 0. Greater than 0 means positive. So out of the 2 leftover ones, which quadrant is tangent positive in? And that's going to be the one with the T in it. So the answer to this question is quadrant 3. All right, so what we're going to do now is practice a couple of those. Let's see how you do. And the directions are going to be, in which quadrant does theta lie? So I'm going to do 1 or 2 more with you, and then I'm going to have you try a couple on your own. So number 1, I'm going to say cos theta greater than 0. And I'm going to say tan theta less than 0. 2. And then I'm going to say sine theta equals negative 2/3. And then I'm going to say cos theta less than 0. All right, so let's do these 2 together. In which quadrant? So for this question, I'm going to draw the grid. ASTC. All right, now let's talk about what this means. Cos theta is greater than 0. So I need cosine to be positive. And cosine is positive where the A is, because that means all are positive. Cosine is also positive where there's a C. So that means these 2 are out. Only these 2 can work for him. Now, out of the leftover 2, which one would be tangent and less than 0 means negative? So, what does A stand for? Everything is positive. We need tangent to be negative, so that's out. So what's the only quadrant left? Quadrant 4. All right, 1 more, and then I'm going to have you try 1 or 2 on your own. All right, so which quadrant? So I draw ASTC. Okay. Now, check this out. Sine theta equals negative 2/3. So that means I need sine to be negative. Which quadrants could I cross off if sine has to be negative? Well, A stands for all is positive, right? That can't be it. And S stands for sine is positive. So that can't be it. All right. Now, out of the leftover 2, I need cosine to be less than 0. Less than 0 again means negative. Well, that's not what we want. So it's got to be quadrant 3. All right. So I'm going to give you 3 more. Okay. Let's do... Try that one. That one. All right. So take a look at both of these, or 3 of these. Take a minute, see if you can figure out what quadrant they would be in. Best bet is just to pause me, right, and then turn me back on. Okay, so I hope you pause me. I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to make my letters here. Now remember, the letters stand for what is positive. So cosine less than 0. So that means I need cosine to be negative. Well, all our positive is out, and cosine positive is out. Now, out of the leftover 2, which one is sine greater than 0? Sine positive in, well, the one with the big S. So that's going to be quadrant 2. All right, next one. Let me do ASTC again. ASTC. Okay, tangent positive. So I need tangent to be positive. All right, well, A stands for all is positive. That's good. T stands for tangent positive. So that means I can cross these two. Okay. Now, out of the leftover 2, I need cosine to be positive 2/3. So out of the 2 here, which is the only other place where cosine can be positive? And that's going to be quadrant 1, because A stands for all things positive. T stands for only tangent positive. And finally, one more, ASTC. Okay, tangent is negative radical 2/2. So tangent needs to be negative. Well, it can't be all or positive, and it can't be where tangent's positive. All right, out of the leftover 2, which one is sine negative in? Well, what does S stand for? S stands for sine is positive. No, it's not, so we have to cross that off. So that means it's quadrant 4. All right, and that's it, and that's what your assignment's on.